It is the Saturday of a long weekend, and the blower motor in that there car has stopped working. I'm going to take it over to the barn. I'm going to test the switch first. If that is sending power to the motor because it's through a fuse, not a relay, then I will take the blower motor out and I will bench test it. And if that's failed, I'll order a new one and install it. But I got to get AC back in that car because that's my main commuter car that I drive to work when I go to work. And like if we need to make like longer trips that we don't want to take Macy's gas guzzler and obviously don't want to put extra miles on the blue truck, we take this little Hyundai Sonata, 4-cylinder, gets pretty good gas mileage. So I'm gonna get the AC going back again, hopefully this weekend. Everything's set up out here. I'll go ahead and try and see if I can figure out wherein lies the problem. I still have the battery plugged in, obviously, because I'm going to be testing some of the electrical components and I need the voltage from the battery. I'm going to pull this switch out. This is the thing that controls the AC, and it's obviously not working. So the only diagnostic stuff I have to go on is I still have power getting to this module, assuming that it's not separated between each rotary switch, because I have lights and all this stuff works. So another diagnostic tool I have, when I turn this switch, I don't know if you can hear it, but right down here, let me see if I can, I'm gonna put my mic down there by it. So when I turn this switch, I don't know if you could hear it or not, but there's a little bit of a click that happens. That tells me, because there's not a relay down there, it just goes through a fuse. I looked at the wiring diagram. At least there shouldn't be a relay down there. That click tells me that the motor is getting power, but it's not spinning. It could be a worn brush. I might be able to fix it without getting a replacement motor, but I'm going to check the switch first just to rule out that there is actually power going there, even though I'm 99% certain, because I hear that click, that there is power getting transferred from the switch to the blower motor. All right, got the camera precariously perched up there. We'll see if I can get this thing out without breaking it too bad. Connectors back out of here. All right, so that just had two connectors, one going into, I don't really know how it differentiates between which one's the climate control and which one controls the blower motor, but there are two switches that go on here. It could reference back to the wiring diagram, but we will see, make sure these contacts are working. See if we can figure that out with our handy dandy clamp meter set on resistance mode. Continuity testing. But anyway, this is what the back of it looks like. There's a plug that goes in here, some sort of little round plug, and then there's a plug that goes in here. I'm going to attempt to manipulate these switches while looking or probing out the contacts on either one of these to attempt which one sends power where and to make sure the actual brushed contact is sending power through. I guess one thing I can do, I'm going to go ahead and take this one off because it's retained by a little pin here. I don't know if it pops all the way out, but we're going to see if it does because that'll give me an idea of what it feeds power from. So I figured out that this little round thing here controls, all it controls is this, which is the fan speed selector. Got a little drive there, so I don't believe that this is going to be what we need to check. So I can go ahead and put this back on because all the fan speeds were dead. Sometimes if you have just like one fan speed that dies, the fan speed selector switch, since it's on its own, could be the problem, but I know that all of them weren't working, so we know that's not the issue. Nice little learning detour there. Ultimately gave us no new information about why the blower motor's not working. Is it going to be easier to determine what these pins signify, or is it going to be easier to take off? All right, I'm not going to be able, there's so many pins in this thing, I'm not going to waste my time, since I'm reasonably certain because of the clicking noise that the issue is at the blower motor, so I'm not going to waste my time trying to probe this side out. I'm just going to stick this right here for now, and then I'm going to get over here, take the panel cover off the blower motor, find the connector for the blower motor, figure out which is supposed to send 12 volts to it, and then test it out here. I'm now on the passenger side of the car. The blower motor is up under this panel, and I believe there are two screws back here. in order to, actually they're right here. So there's a screw here and there's a screw here to take this panel off. So I'm gonna get this panel off and see if I can find out how to get to the blower motor. My wife has joined me. New player has entered the chat. I have no idea if the angle of this camera will give you literally any insight into what I'm doing down here, but I must do it regardless. There's just two little Phillips head screwdrivers that hold on this cover. I'll take them out, let them fall on the ground. If anyone is watching this because they're interested in doing the same thing, this is an 07 Hyundai Sonata. I realized I never said that. It's got the manual climate control in it, so it wouldn't be applicable to anything with automatic climate control. 2.4 liter inline 4. So there might be some subtle differences between the two as far as the location of stuff. Just gotta figure out how to get it out. I'm too large of a man to be down here doing this. Too big. Not enough space. This little bitty car. Anytime I ride around in this car and I feel that feeling of like, man, this is a small car for a large human, I think about, I grew up in this town called Albertville, Alabama, and there was a gym there called Powerhouse Gym right next to Piggly Wiggly off I-75, and actually Highway 75 rather. And there was a dude that worked out there, don't know his name, but he drove this little bitty Toyota Corolla. He was a big old dude. He always wore a shirt that said, "It's not the size of the car, it's the size of the arm hanging out the window." Don't know why, that's just like a ingrained memory for me. I'm gonna have to pull this piece down. All right, I slid the seat back a little bit. Hopefully that'll give me some more room to work in here. Don't know why I didn't do that sooner. I believe there's another flathead screw right here. Not flathead, a Phillips head. This is like a retaining bracket or a just something I gotta kind of flop out of the way because it's holding on to this bad boy, which is what I actually need to remove. The blower motor. I can't figure out how to get this connector off, so I'm gonna have to take all this stuff out of the way, pull it down, and there's one more screw in the back, and then this thing will be loose. I assume there's one more screw. I don't actually know that. I just know it hasn't fallen down yet, and I've taken 2 screws out already, so there it is. Oh, this one's gonna be hard to get to, eh? Oh, I need a stubby little Phillips head, and I have one somewhere, but I have no earthly idea where it is at the moment. I think I'll be able to get it out. Come on. Come on. Aha. All right, there's my blower motor. Spins freely, isn't locked up. Let's see how to get this dang old kerfluffle out. Bam. All right. One input output, so I could just bench test this real quick before I even probe these, but I think I'll probe them first. All right, so there were 3 screws that were up into holding the blower motor housing up into here. I don't know what all you can see up here or what you can't see. And then there was 1 screw that I had to take out because this thing kind of sits in the way. I believe this is just part of the air box maybe. Either that or it's just a retaining bracket, I can't really tell. And then obviously there were the 2 screws that came out of the cover panel. So we have this, our blower motor free. We have our connection here. I'm going to probe the connection first to see if when I turn on the selector switch that I get 12 volts to the blower motor. If I do, then I know this is probably bad, but I'm gonna bench test this anyway just to see, you know, what's going on with it. All right, so I got my clamp meter back out, set to measure resistance. See if I can get this clamp in here. I shan't get the clamp. All right, so I'm actually gonna measure voltage, not resistance, obviously. All right, so there are no volts, set to DC. No volts going now, I turn it. I am not getting any sort of reading here. So that makes me believe that there is a relay down here somewhere because I was hearing a clicking noise. I'm gonna have to trace that. This might be a relay right here. All right, before I go tracing a bunch of wires, I'm going to test this just to make sure, because if this isn't working, that would save me a lot of headache. I'm doing it the janky way. I have the battery disconnected, but I'm going to just short it directly. I don't have a tester probe, but I do have some of these things. Don't try this at home, kids. Get my multimeter real quick, make sure this is actually delivering voltage. It isn't. But why isn't it? Do I have a blown fuse? I do not have a blown fuse. These clamps might be a little rusty. Oh, I had it clamped on the dead side of the knife switch here. I'm smart. Real smart. Real smart. Now we got voltage. All right. Again, don't try this at home. It's probably going to spark a little bit. All right, I'm definitively making contact there, but I'm getting nothing out of this motor. Now I think I've blown a fuse. I have indeed blown the fuse. All right, I'm just gonna grab something that I can short this directly with, not even use these clamps with fuses in them. Don't try it at home. We tried the safe way. Now we're gonna try whatever way this is. I need to just go buy a probe tester. But who's got the time? I think this motor's dead. Yeah, I got voltage across these contacts, and I am getting absolutely nothing. Not even a click. This appears to be a sealed motor. Don't know if there's any way for me to get in here. Oh yeah, this motor's toast. There's no continuity between the windings at all. So it doesn't necessarily explain why I'm not seeing voltage between the wires inside the car. But that could be because I didn't have the car cranked. I don't know if it sends power. I don't know if it's on ignition. So I'm gonna try that real quick. The fact that I can't get the motor running on a bench test, you know, just shorting it straight to 12 volts, makes me think that for sure that motor is bad and that I probably wasn't testing the power input down here at the connector very well. But I'm gonna try it again. Okay, yeah. I have voltage down here. It was just that the car wasn't on. Turn it off. So you see the switch is off. Let me see if I can illuminate that. Switch is off, 0 volts. On, you have voltage. Yep, so the motor's just bad. Well, that makes me feel a wee bit better about my diagnosticating skills. So yeah, we have power all the way to the motor. The motor's just not running. I'm gonna see, I'm gonna have to order a new motor if I can't get this one working anyway. So I'm gonna see if I can tear this thing apart. Because sometimes if this is a brushed motor, the brushes will just get dirty. It doesn't give me a whole lot of hope because I spun this thing, and if it was dirty brushes after I spun it, it might catch on one of the other ones, but it wasn't doing anything. So I'm gonna try and break this apart and see if it'll do something. So I'm reasonably certain that this motor's toast because there is no continuity at all. There's no resistance reading between the two input contacts for this motor. There should be some sort of resistance. There should be some sort of continuity between the windings. Otherwise, how would power pass between them? You know, it's not going to be zero. It's not going to be completely continuous because that would be a short. But there is like a specified resistance between the windings inside the motor, and it's reading open. So that means this thing's probably just shot. I would have no idea how to fix it. I'd probably have to rewind the whole motor, and I don't have a way to do that here. So I'm still going to break it apart some because I'm gonna have to order a new one anyway, and that's going to be a few days. But we'll just see what we can do with this. At this point, I'm so confident that I'm going to have to buy another one that I'm just kind of breaking it as I go here. What better way to learn? Sometimes we're taught as children not to break things, which makes a lot of sense. But how else am I going to learn how things work if I don't break some stuff, you know? So we can see into the motor in here after taking off that cover. So that might just have been a heat dissipation mechanism set like right here. Blew it back up into the system to maybe filter some of the cold air coming back into the system to cool off the motor. Was it you? Yeah. Heck yeah. Macy got 100 on her quiz. All right, so this was a retaining ring that I couldn't figure out how to get off without breaking, but it is broken now, and the motor is out. It is a sealed motor, and it do not work. I guess I could cut into this thing to open it up, but really, what's the point? It's really dusty in there. A million things could have gone wrong. There's not a short inside of it because it's open. I mean, there still could be a short, just not reading back to here. It could have burnt off something before the short. It could be as simple as the leads where it comes into here are no longer in contact with the wires that lead to the windings in the motor anymore. But I mean, you can see the stator and the rotor in there. Then you can see the windings down. But we're gonna leave it alone. It's not that expensive. I already looked up. I think it's like 40 bucks for a new motor. So I'm just gonna order a new one. My fingers are covered in electrical dust. All right, so that wraps up today of trying to fix this thing. I gotta order the part. I'll finish this video whenever that part comes in. I'm gonna go do part 2 of yard maintenance. CEO entrepreneur. CEO entrepreneur, born in 1964, Jeffrey Bezos. Came through in the clutch, 1-day shipping, new blower motor has arrived. Should be plug and play. Hopefully this doesn't take too long to do. It's pretty hot out here right now. It just rained, so the humidity is through the roof. This is what all the girls do, the unboxing videos for their makeup and whatnot. So I'm gonna do an unboxing video for the blower motor for old Carlisle. This was 30 bucks. It got here in a day. People like to hate on Amazon, but my God. Where else can you find that for an 07 Hyundai Sonata? I don't know if they stock that in part stores locally. I mean, if they do, they don't stock it for 30 bucks, I'll tell you that much. Looky there. That is a beaut. Looks just like the one I took out. We got this thing that we determined was the kind of like a ventilation system for the actual fan motor to keep it from overheating. Got the same style plug. Literally, I'm not going to get in there and like show you all the ins and outs of me installing it in the car, because it's literally going to be put it in there, connect the connector, 3 screws, put everything back, turn on the car, see if it works. Let's put it in. Like a glove. All right, snap her into place. I'm in the middle of something. That wasn't to tell you that you can't sit here and talk to me, but I guess just letting you know that I might not be able to pay attention really well. And it feels disrespectful to not like actively listen to you, you know? I'm so unreasonably confident that this is gonna solve it that I went ahead and buttoned everything back up. I'll have to take it all back off if this doesn't solve it, but I'm pretty sure it will. Battery's plugged in. I charged it overnight. I like to charge them every once in a while. Once every quarter maybe, I'll put it on a float charger and just float charge the battery till it's topped off. Real slow charge. Everything's plugged in. I went ahead and yesterday after I got done filming, I went ahead and just popped this back into place. There was nothing much to it. We see that everything's working, so everything's plugged in right. Moment of truth. Booyah. We have air conditioning again. Oh, thank God. This AC blows cold too. Sometimes it's even too cold. Woo! Oh, that feels good out here in the summer heat. I even got the windows down. This thing is just blasting cold air. At idle too, so that compressor's not working too hard. Oh yeah. All right. That's got it taken care of. I'm gonna go pull the car back over. 30 bucks. Maybe 2.5 hours worth of work. That's all it took to diagnose and replace this thing. Was not difficult at all. I've made that job honestly probably harder than it had to have been, but I'm glad I did it in the process that I did it. You know, checking the switch first, then checking the contacts down up underneath the blower motor, and then checking the blower motor itself. That just made logistically the most sense to me because it was the easiest to get to. If you start with the blower motor and you have good voltage and it bench tests correctly, then you just got to work backwards, but you've already put in a lot of effort, because taking out the blower motor is a lot harder than just popping off that front cover. So, you know, I just kind of progressively worked down, even though you know, I was 90 to 95% sure that it was a blower motor issue. And it went up to like 99 to 100% sure as soon as I found out that I had voltage at the plug that goes into the blower motor. But she's working again. Happy about that. It never ends. You know, this is a 2007 Ford Expedition my wife drives, Ford Expedition EL. It's got the 5.4 liter Triton in it. Don't buy that engine. 2007 Hyundai Sonata with a 2.4 four-banger in it. It's a pretty reliable car. It's only got like 80,000 miles on it. I bought it with 40,000 miles on it. And then we got the 1996 K1500 Chevy. When you have all your cars that are almost all older than 20 years old, the average age of them is older than 20 years old, things are bound to go wrong with them. And you can either pay somebody to fix them, which costs a lot of money. You can get a new car, which costs even more money. Or you can spend a little bit of time and effort and figure it out and fix it yourself, which is what I enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy doing it, there's nothing wrong with doing it the other way. I'm not telling you got to be, you know, all working on cars and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with not working on cars and just spending your time if your time is more valuable spent doing other things, there's nothing wrong with that. I just honestly enjoy working on vehicles and working on anything mechanical in general, building stuff other than closets. I hate building closets or cabinets. Cabinets suck too. But yeah, build stuff, have fun doing it if it suits you. See you next time. Hey, good boy.
Eating big time, ain't she pretty? Ain't she witty? Ain't she great?